Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott. That's Lauren. Oh, Lauren is not here right now, but she'll be here in a bit, I hope. The Wilder Show podcast. You can find us on Instagram. Search Wilder Show Pod, and you'll like it and follow it and all that. If you want to send us email, just email to podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time, or before at Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, on the TikTok every now and again. Wherever you get your podcasts, would you like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share? And we really appreciate that. Politics and war. I guess that's kind of the same thing, right? Politics and war. And a word about Savannah Guthrie's mom. There is actually the first real piece of news about that in, I guess, about a month. So we'll get to that. Kristi Noem, Homeland Security Secretary, is now the ex-Homeland Security Secretary, becomes the first to leave or to be replaced or fired from the president's cabinet. There are several layers on the reason for this that make it make sense. You have the Corey Lewandowski stuff, which is bad. You have the huge expense on the luxury plane. Have you seen that? Have you seen the special cabin there in the luxury plane for Homeland Security, upgrading to a 737? But it wasn't that, I don't think. Those things were not the deal breakers. Really came down to something that she said in her recent testimony to senators. She said that the president had signed off on a huge $200 million ad campaign. You might have seen these ads. You know, it's the one where she's on them. She stars in the ads. It's where she's on screen saying that if illegals will turn themselves in, they can still have a chance to come back to America the right way. But if we have to catch you, you'll never be back in America again, she says. Anyway, big ad campaign. You might have seen it. I saw it several times. It was on some cable news and also even the radio ads. But they all featured her. Well, she was asked the question if by a senator, I think it was John Kennedy, asked the question, did the president sign off on the ad campaign? That really was just sort of built her own name recognition, built her own brand. Did the president sign off on the $200 million plus ad campaign? And she said the president did sign off on it, which made the president's head explode. Furious. He issued a statement, said he did not approve that ad campaign. And the companies that got these jobs, they did not have to compete in a bidding process. When you don't go through the bidding process, you have to file certain paperwork explaining why you didn't go through the bidding process. You didn't take a wide number of bids, a bunch of bids, and then pick the ones, and here's the justification for these. Here is what the justification said. DHS reviewed industry publications, analyzed recent DHS initiatives, and evaluated vendors specializing in hyper-targeted media and advertising services. So they used the internet and different things to determine who would be the ones that should be the recipients of this $200 million plus ad campaign. But one of these companies was created and only days later was selected. So, in fact, it was Safe America Media, LLC. It was incorporated in Delaware on February 6, 2025. February 6th. The contract was awarded 1 week later on February 13th. That leaves just 7 days for, quote, government websites and industry publications to have been written about the firm, to have led DHS to conclude that, this is one of the only companies that could do this work, to then approach that firm and for it to write back with its interest. It's not believable. Another one of the companies was run by people close to her. So it's enough to say that it's shady. And that's why Trump freaked out, that she had said that he had approved the ad campaign. So she's out. Mark Wayne Mullen, senator from Oklahoma, you'd know him if you saw him. will inherit that cabinet position and that new expensive 737 with the ridiculous luxury interior. Texas U.S. Senate race. Man, is this going to be wild. Talarico wins over Jasmine Crockett. And by the way, I'll say some things about Talarico, but if you really want to know, I had mentioned something before. There's an article you should read, and you'll find it at mereorthodoxy.com. It's called James Talarico's Gospel. Okay? James Talarico's Gospel. That will tell you everything you need to know. But let's give the cursory glance to it. Jasmine Crockett lost. She did suggest that perhaps voter fraud is the reason for her loss. I thought Democrats weren't involved in any voter fraud. She said that Republicans made sure that she lost. If Republicans were going to engage in voter fraud in that race, Republicans would have made sure she won. She's the person that Republicans wanted to win. So I don't know what she's talking about, but she didn't know what she was talking about either. Democrats are excited. They're hoping that Talarico is Beto, but a winner. Now, on the Republican side, what a mess. Runoff between Cornyn and Paxton. Democrats are hoping for Paxton to win because, man, he doesn't have skeletons in his closet. His closets have closets. They are licking their chops, hoping it's going to be Talarico against Paxton. This may even have been resolved by the time this podcast drops or by the time you listen to it, but we can talk about it briefly. The president gave an interview to Politico yesterday morning. Now, the president said, look, I'm not going to make an endorsement in this primary. But the truth is, he sort of primaried Cornyn. He wanted Cornyn to be primaried. He didn't feel like that Cornyn was a big enough supporter along the way. Not MAGA, never goes all the way out there for the president. And Ken Paxton was just waiting to be the man. And so a big, huge, super MAGA guy, Ken Paxton. While the president didn't endorse any of them, I think he was hoping that it would be clear and that one of them would win. Then he wouldn't have to make an endorsement. But most people expected that there would be a runoff between Paxton and Cornyn. And Wesley Hunt, I mean, he got a lot. He had more than a decent showing, but he wasn't going to be likely in the top two. And President Trump had good things to say about all three of them. Had great things to say about Wesley Hunt, great things to say about Ken Paxton, and good things or great things to say about John Cornyn. So here's where we are. The president had given overtures that he was going to make an endorsement in this runoff, and that whoever did not receive his endorsement, the president said he expects them to get out of the race. And part of this is because they don't want to spend so much money. It's crazy to waste this much money, like $80 million or something crazy, what's been spent in this primary election. And don't waste any more money because Talarico, he's just saving his money for the fall campaign. So Donald Trump had said, look, whoever I don't endorse, you need to get out. Well, it looks like he was leaning toward, and again, this is probably resolved by the time you're listening to this, he was looking to endorse John Cornyn. He's obviously the incumbent. So the president is in a brief phone conversation yesterday morning, said an endorsement will be made pretty soon, he said. But he had been told that Paxton had said, hey, you know what? Even if I don't get the endorsement, I'm not dropping out of the race. Sounds very Trump-like, doesn't it? Will you support the no? If you don't put me, I'll run as a... Remember that? Trump was told that Paxton had said, hey, I'm not going to drop out even if I don't get the endorsement. He said, well, that's bad for him to say. That is bad for him. So maybe that leads me to go the other direction. Now, the truth is, I think he was leaning toward Cornyn anyway. So if he can point to this and say this was a reason why, I think what's likely to happen is he'll endorse Cornyn, and then he will offer some position to Ken Paxton to smooth things over. Just one more thing about Talarico. This guy's dangerous. You know, he keeps selling himself as a seminarian. Is that what you say, seminarian? Seminary? Yeah, seminarian. But he's a Christian, he says. And he says all these things. He says God is not male or female. So why are we instructed to pray, our Father who art in heaven? We're not instructed to. We don't pray our parent. We pray our Father. We don't say our father and mother and or mother. Not he, she, not they, them. We say our Father who is in heaven. Anyway, look, maybe it's not the policies that he would pursue, but it's the lies that he's telling about faith, the lies that he tells about God and Jesus. And maybe he's just misguided. I don't know. But here's what I do know. They are the lies that people want to believe. You know what I'm saying? The ones that make them comfortable. Like a girl in an unwanted pregnancy wants to believe that it's not a baby. Desperately wants to be told and it be reinforced. No, don't worry. That's not a baby. In that same way, you have Talarico telling those kinds of lies. God is this, but not this. God is this, but not this. Being a Christian means this, but not this over here. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing. And again, if you want to know more about him, you want to really know about him, read a piece called James Talarico's Gospel at mereorthodoxy.com. You'd be wise to do it, and you'll be smarter for having done it. Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's mom, more than a month ago, she was abducted. And there is nothing new, virtually nothing new in the last month, except this. Savannah Guthrie will return to the Today Show. That announcement was made yesterday. Where is this investigation into her mom's disappearance? Who knows? We know almost nothing else about this, virtually nothing, in about a month. The sheriff is still saying it's a targeted kidnapping of an 84-year-old lady. I would guess that would be rare. But that's still what they're saying. So there's nothing new as of this sitting, but always we'd like to be able to say, hey, maybe by the time you hear this, this will be resolved. If not, then the only thing new is Savannah Guthrie is going back to the Today Show. And we talk about the war in Iran. I don't know why, but I've always been sort of obsessed with the idea of running out of ammunition. I think about that when I watch a TV show and when I watch a movie, and these guys have a handgun, but nothing else. That means they've got, depending on the kind, they have maybe 16, 17 rounds, maybe more. But not that many. They got a revolver with 6 rounds, right? So you got to be careful how you fire your weapons. In the war we're talking about, the war between the U.S. and Israel against Iran, there are 2 kinds of weapons, 2 kinds of ammunition, right? You have the ammunition that is offensive, right? The offense, like rockets and missiles and bombs, to take out facilities, to take out their communication, their command and control, to take out, maybe take out some leadership, or take out the facilities where they're building, whatever, missiles. So you have those kinds of weapons. And, of course, you don't want to run out of those. It's a big world. I mean, there are a lot of things going on, either now or it could be going on, sometime soon. So you have those kinds of weapons that we need. We need that kind of ammunition. Ships can only be in one place. If ships are in the Pacific, they can't be in the Atlantic. If they're just off the coast of Iran, they are not just off the coast of Taiwan. So there's a limit. It may be a lot. It may be big. We may have plenty of whatever, but there's a limit. That's why it's so important that this be something that is done rather quickly. We are spending a lot of that offensive ammunition on this. By the way, we also have offensive ammunition that we provide to other countries. We provide those kinds of ammunitions to Ukraine, to Israel. So when Ukraine is using them up, they're going to come back and ask for more. When Israel is using its up, it's going to come back and ask for more. When we're using ours up, we're going to have to manufacture these things, and you don't print them out on a 3D printer. I mean, it takes a while. So that's the offensive weapons. But we also have the defensive weapons. And in a world where you can manufacture a drone and put, 40 pounds of explosives in the tip of the drone and that would cost you maybe $20,000. And especially if you are close to your target, and especially if you have a bunch of those, you can have an Iron Dome all you want. You can have the Patriot missiles, Defenders, all you want. But at some point, even if you don't run out of those, you're going to have such an influx in terms of volume that you can't do anything about it. Think about having a can of bug spray, and you see one hornet, and you spray that on one hornet, and you kill the hornet. Now, let's say you see 5 hornets. Now, let's say you see 10 hornets. Let's say 150 hornets are coming to you at once, and you're spraying that bug spray like crazy. You're probably going to kill a bunch of them, but you're probably not going to kill all of them, and you're going to get stung. And the reason why we're taking these things out on the ground, there's a saying, it's easier to kill the archer on the ground than to shoot down the arrows in the air. You kill one archer, you've stopped a bunch of arrows. Obviously, that's not a person. They're talking about the rocket and the missile launching pads, things like that. And our defensive weapons, those things that we fire to stop those $20,000 drones, cost a lot more than $20,000. Some of them are $2 million. So we're spending $2 million to stop a $20,000 drone. So it is a sort of a brave new world of war that you can have these kinds of weapons, and they still have to be defended. But how do you defend them when you're spending so much more to defend it or to shoot it out of the air than they're spending to put it in the air? For every one of those you can put in the air to stop a drone, they can, with the same amount of money, manufacture 100 drones. And every time you see that anti-missile technology going up in the air, they never just send one, obviously. It's, it's going. So that my obsession from a long time ago, watching movies, wondering about running out of ammunition, I think about that. I think about, and not just what it costs, obviously, that's a factor, but it's also just the logistics of having them. You have to have them. So that's why it is pretty important that this wrap up relatively quickly. We don't want to be doing this in a month from now. When the president said 4 to 5 weeks, I think he said that so that when it stops at 2 weeks, he could say, look how much we did and success. And they said it could never be done. And we did it, the likes of which the world has never seen before, that kind of stuff. So that's just a little update on the war. Oh, it is time for a scatter shoot.
Let's go.
There she is. Wilder Show scatter shoot. All right.
You talked about the new burger at McDonald's the other day.
Yeah, the Arch or the McArch or the Big Arch, whatever it's called.
The Big Arch burger.
Big Arch.
And I guess we had it a little bit earlier, maybe in Texas.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it technically...
Was it a test market or something like that?
No, technically, I think it dropped, if you want to say that, on March 3rd, on Tuesday.
Yes, but you ate it before that,
I
didn't
did.
you?
I think it wasn't, remember, it was not on the menu. But I went by and asked.
Oh, that's right.
And I said, hey, do you guys have that yet? Mm-hmm. And they did. And so I had it. And I gave it it wasn't meh, but it was, for the cost, I didn't think it was tremendously better than a Big Mac.
I thought you were fairly enthusiastic, right?
Yeah,
considering that it came from McDonald's.
Oh, sure,
and
absolutely.
You know what your expectations are necessarily for a burger from there.
I actually videotaped myself.
No, you didn't.
I did in the car. I did. I videotaped myself doing it. I didn't post it, but I did video because I've seen people do that, and I thought, I wonder what I would look like doing that.
And what did you decide? What did you look like doing that?
Now I know what I look like doing that. Let me say I decided not to post it.
Okay.
So it was okay. It was good, but it was my own little review. I've seen people do it with pizza. I've seen people do it with hamburgers and chicken nuggets and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, I'll give it a go. See what that looks like. See what I look like doing that. I was unimpressed with myself.
Well, I'm not sure but I bet you were more enthusiastic than McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczynski
Oh my gosh.
was.
I think I've seen this.
Yeah.
I thought it was a goof, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought it was somebody pretending to be the CEO of McDonald's, but for people who hadn't seen it yet, talk about that.
Well, first of all, he's very thin, which I didn't know. I mean, he looks very thin and fit for a CEO of McDonald's. Yeah. I would expect maybe just a few more French fries around the middle, maybe. Right. I don't know. Maybe he works out really hard. But there's a video of McDonald's CEO Chris Kempczynski trying the burger early last month, so early in February. I don't know if this if it wasn't posted then, if they were holding off on it until now, or if it's just now getting attention because the burger has just sort of hit the marketplace. But I would encourage you to find this just for a little giggle, because he doesn't. He's trying to look. He's trying to look enthusiastic, right? It's supposed to be a sales piece, and he takes the tiniest bite of a burger that I've ever seen. It was not
a man's bite of a burger, or even a woman's bite of a burger. It really wasn't.
Maybe it was a thin man's bite
I don't
of a
think
burger.
so.
Now I'm rethinking all of this.
I saw a piece in Adweek, and they were talking about this and said the whole thing was lined up as the perfect marketing moment. The boss, front and center, celebrating the new creation.
Yeah.
And it says it started so well. He was effusive as he opened the box.
Yeah.
He was saying things like, it was so good and it's unique and there's so much going on here. Textbook wind up.
Yeah.
Right? From the big boss.
The first thing he said, I love this product.
But he kept talking about it as a product and this thing. But he takes this bite that, how did they say it in Adweek? They said it was not a bite at all. It was the clip of the outer edge while he disconcertingly talked about it as the product or this thing. The bite itself was like a man diffusing something. And it did look like that.
I bet your video would have done way better than this.
I think mine was better than his.
I'm sure.
I thought it was a goof. But really,
he just needs a little. What kind of training would it be? Would it be media training?
Yeah, it is.
Or
it is
just maybe one little acting workshop or something like that to sincerity. I can fake that.
That's exactly right. And just the Adweek piece continues, and it says what happens next, or rather, didn't happen, sealed the video's fate. It ends with 2.3% of the burger consumed. He promises to enjoy it off camera.
Okay.
And it says the video was picked apart across social media. And one person writes, this man does not eat at McDonald's. So this writer at Adweek, he's an expert, he did sort of a take two. Yeah. He said, this is what should have happened.
Did he do his own video?
Not a video,
but
he directs it. Okay. This is a go-by.
Okay.
Here's the direction. Kempczynski opens the box. He doesn't describe it. He doesn't call it a product. He says 3 or 4 lines. Then he picks it up with both hands, because that's what you do with the big arch.
Yeah, first, don't you smell it too? I mean, that would be my thing. First, take a big deep breath and, breathe in the great smell.
Then you have to lean forward slightly so the sauce doesn't hit your shirt. Takes a proper committed 3-inch bite. He chews. He doesn't perform the chewing. He just chews.
Yeah.
Maybe he says something. Maybe he doesn't. He doesn't have to wave it around. He doesn't talk about this thing like he's handling evidence. The video ends with him nodding.
Yeah.
Half the burger still in his hand. It's a kind of nod that says, this is good.
See, I'm in it now. I want one now.
The kind of nod that says, this is all getting eaten.
Yeah.
That he wants to be nowhere else but right here, right now, running McDonald's, eating McDonald's, the CEO and the product in perfect harmony, all from one single bite.
So he just needed a better director.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That's so good.
A take 2 with a better director. And something else I learned from this is a limited time.
That's what they say.
Product.
That's what they say. Again, it was too much beef for me. I didn't find the sauce to be as tangy. I did see somebody saying they got an extra side of the sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I could try the sauce separately with the fries to get a better sense of
the flavor profile,
of the sauce. But I probably won't buy another one. Although I kind of think maybe I should do it again and do the proper taste test video.
Didn't he also say "Holy cow"?
Oh, I don't know. Is that true?
Yeah,
that's funny.
I'm not sure if he intended
not a good
for
idea
that
to
to
say
be
that.
to be a cute inside joke, but yeah. The bane of my travel existence lately has not been anybody kicking my seat from behind. I've not really witnessed any, big fights or bad passenger behavior. Maybe once or twice. But for the number of flights that we take, few and far between.
Yeah, it's true.
But what does really get me these days, people listening to something on the speaker of their phone. It's more, I was going to say their phone or their iPad or their laptop, but it's more than anything, I think it's the phone.
Or taking a phone call with it on speakerphone.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of annoying, too.
And it's so disrespectful.
Yeah. So this is going a little bit beyond just something like American Airlines. They have a quiet cabin, quiet cabin rule, but nobody's getting kicked off of a flight.
Right. They just say, please observe the quiet cabin rule.
Even your kids, they want even the littlest travelers to have headphones on, which I think is, it's nice and it's considerate of the people around you. If you had everybody listening to something from a separate speaker,
it's not your private jet.
It would be chaos.
Yeah, it's not your private jet. You have to fit in.
Well, more than just trying to get people to comply with their rules in a peaceful way when nothing is really on the line, United Airlines has taken this step further, and they have actually quietly updated their contract of carriage to officially state that failure to use headphones while listening to audio or video content could be grounds for removing a passenger from a plane and banning them from future flights.
I believe that. I think that's right.
So if you're on United Airlines, be careful because, you might think that they're telling you just to be kind to the people around you, but what they're really telling you is put your headphones on, turn it down, mute it, or you're out of here, maybe for good. Or
you know what, Napoleon, you can leave. Yeah, I think it's right. People walk around honestly like they're the center of the universe. What they're doing is the only important stuff. And I want to see this, and I'm just going to, it's not that loud. They might look at you like, well, it's not that loud. But I've been on a plane before where a girl with the exit aisle seat and the girl over by the window was playing the thing loud.
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, you do have to be careful when you tell other people what to do or remind them of the rules. Sometimes it can appear that you have a problem with the entire group that they allegedly represent.
Yeah.
And that is when it gets really tough.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, the rules apply to this guy and that guy. And that guy, this international person, and you. You have to follow the same rules. On your private jet, you can do whatever you want to do. And if I'm on your private jet and you'd prefer I don't do certain things, I will have to follow those rules because it's not my jet. This is not your jet.
I don't know what the official stance is. Well, I kind of do know what the official stance of Southwest Airlines is. I don't know what the penalty would have been for this if we had continued. But a few years ago, I traveled with a bunch of 2-year-olds, not just me and the 2-year-olds. The moms were all with us too. But a lot of the kids did have either a phone that they were watching something on or a tablet that they were watching something on. And we were told really in no uncertain terms, all them muted. They all have to be muted or they all have to have headphones. It was a non-negotiable.
Yeah, I agree. Totally.
I don't
totally
know.
agree.
Like I said, I don't know if we would have been removed from the flight, but it was not a suggestion that they were making. It was clearly a rule.
They might have taken away the items.
Yeah.
Sort of like in school.
Yeah.
Am I going to have to take that up?
Yeah. That was a couple of years ago. So I know this is not a new thing. This should not surprise anyone at all.
No. You know the word bangers? Bangers? What is a banger? What is that?
A banger is a great song.
I got you. Okay. So you have like a major music artist releases a new album. of, you might say, certified bangers.
Yeah.
Is that a sentence that would work? Does that track?
I'm really close to as old as you are, so I don't know if I can say that officially.
Well,
but yeah, it works for me.
Well, one of those bangers might be your car.
Oh no!
Into a tree or a light pole or another car.
That sounds terrible.
According to a recent working paper from researchers affiliated with Harvard Medical School, there is a statistically significant correlation between the release days of the world's most streamed albums and a spike in U.S. traffic fatalities.
Oh, no.
Is that crazy?
You mean like people get so wrapped up, they think people get so wrapped up in the music that they are not as careful in traffic as they normally would be?
We are reminded that correlation does not equal causation.
Of course.
But the study used data from the Fatality Analysis Reporting System and Spotify's charts to track the top 10 most streamed albums between 2017 and 2022. On days when major artists like Taylor Swift or Drake released new music, streaming volumes surged by nearly 40%.
Wow.
Simultaneously, traffic deaths jumped by 15%.
Wow.
So when a 15% increase might sound modest in academic speak, in the real world, that's a lot of people dying.
That's a lot.
Because they were swept up by the rhythm or, plowed into a wall or things like that. So when a new album drops, could that be the culprit? I mean, people, driving around, partying, turning the music up. That's what researchers are wondering.
I do wonder, too, when there is an accident, a fatality accident, or maybe really any kind of accident, I know that they can use your phone
data
as evidence,
sure,
right? And
sure.
They can know what texts were coming in. They can know when you sent texts. It seems like they might know what was happening on your phone at the time of at the time of a crash like that.
Everything is tracked. Everything is not tracked. It's recorded.
Yeah.
They can pull it out. They can see what your volume was. They can see if you were on your CarPlay. They can see if you were touching it at the time. And the article concludes, we spent years worrying about texting and driving. But the new threat is our collective inability to stop rocking out in our cars, they say.
Well, okay, but we had radios before.
Was
that not a problem? I mean, weren't you pushing buttons and finding different stations? And if you had a cassette or if you had an 8-track or if you had a CD or whatever, I mean, you were looking for, if you had a CD changer and you had 6 different CDs in there and you were looking for one song.
Sure, could have been.
That's
I think
surprising.
I think what they're saying, though, maybe it always was so, but they couldn't track it.
Yeah.
In other words, what we know now is we have a moment in time where we can say, what is the spike of listenership?
Yeah, that's true.
And is there a correlation? Not causation. Is there a correlation so it's all the same people at the same time?
Yeah.
On those days when that stuff drops,
that's true.
40% goes up in terms of listenership on Spotify. And they think not coincidentally, there's a 15% increase in automobile fatalities. So they say, we're worried about texting and driving. And that's an important thing, but maybe in-car entertainment is also a culprit. And maybe we should hold off listening to the new Taylor Kelsey song until we get home.
A couple of years ago, speaking of Taylor Swift, I mean, I'm thinking she's somebody who's going to keep her name. Yeah.
In fact, he may take her name.
He might take her name.
Travis Swift.
A couple of years ago, when Taylor Swift, it was one of her re-releases. She was recutting all of her music so that she would own it. And I think it was the Red album. My daughter, when that came out, my daughter was living in a neighborhood where a lot of young single people lived. And I remember her saying on the day that album dropped, people walking in her neighborhood, she said she just knew that 9 out of every 10 young women she saw with AirPods in were listening to Taylor Swift.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
for sure.
I never thought of them, though, like being so distracted that they might walk out into traffic. What a terrible terrible thing. More good news for dog owners.
Hey, that's good.
As if just having a dog wasn't good news enough.
Yeah, people wonder, what breed Charlie is.
Uh-huh.
And Charlie is a studio dog.
He is a
breed. That's what Charlie is. He's a good one. It's not official at AKC yet, but
we're working on it.
He's a studio dog.
Yeah. I have wanted to do that genetic testing on him. I can't justify the cost. There's no reason for me to know he doesn't have any sort of illnesses or anything. I don't even know if that would be a thing. New research suggests that pets keep you healthier. We knew this already, right? I mean, it's not a slam dunk. It's not just enough to have a dog that is company for you when you come home, or
like a lap dog or whatever.
Charlie's not a lap dog, but I mean, he's pretty comforting.
Yeah.
He's pretty comforting to come home to. Dogs can help you keep your, sanity, help you feel.
That's true. Emotionally centered, things like that.
You've heard of emotional support dogs. I always say that every dog is an emotional support dog. I think research dating back decades has found that people who own pets, especially dogs, tend to be healthier than people who don't. Having a pet is associated with lower blood pressure, a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, also lower rates of death after a heart attack or stroke. Also, there was a large review of studies back in 2019 that found on 2019, that was before we got all of our pandemic puppies, found that owning a dog was associated with a 24% lower risk of dying from all causes over the course of 10 years. You know what this doesn't mention? I wonder, like, if one dog is good, 2, 3, 4, I mean, I could live forever.
Yeah, no,
with that many dogs.
I don't think it works that way.
Here's the thing, though. Pet owners in general, but dog owners in particular, have longer, healthier lives than people who don't have pets. The correlation is convincing, but the question is this relationship causal? Okay. Are pet owners healthier? Dog owners healthier because they're staying active with their dogs and taking their dogs for long walks?
Yeah.
If the dog owner doesn't have really healthy habits, chances are the dog might not really have healthy habits.
Yeah, I know that's true. If you have a dog that needs or is a breed that is particularly active, there's some breeds that say if you're not going to do this, don't get this kind of dog because this dog is a working dog or this dog is a whatever kind of dog. So it's sort of like you can't just have a gym membership and lose weight.
That's right. That's exactly right. There was a study in Australia several years ago that found that most dog owners who walked their dogs met the standard exercise guidelines of 150 minutes of moderately intense physical activity per week, but only 60% of dog owners actually walked them. So just having the dog, it's not, I mean, it can still be good for you, but to really reap those benefits, those health benefits,
that makes sense.
You've got to get out and walk the dog. And then you're staying healthy and the dog's staying healthy too.
I think the dogs, because you could walk on your own. You don't have to have a dog to walk.
Sure.
You just go out and walk for 30 minutes.
I think for some people, though, that is a motivation to walk when they might not on their own.
I was going to say that you could, while you can do that without a dog, the emotional stuff that you get from a dog is a different thing. You can't necessarily get that on your own.
Right.
That is something that you do, I think, get from a dog or a pet. But really, particularly, like they said, probably a dog.
Yep.
That is the Wilder Show, Scattershoot and the Wilder Show podcast. Find us on Instagram. Wilder Show Pod is where you'll find us on Instagram. If you want to send us email, just email to podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time or before on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, also on the TikTok now and again, wherever you get your podcasts. Would you please like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share, and we will really appreciate that. And Lauren, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
dun, dun, dun.